Good morning. It's Wednesday morning here in Cypress, Texas. So I got up this morning and I'm surprised because I got to bed late and I had some pizza right before I went to bed, which is like, against my practice, right? But, um, so I got up this morning and I'm reading chapter 30, Genesis, Psalms, and Proverbs. And there was a lot popping out at me. But what had the greatest emphasis was Psalms chapter 30, verse 11. It says, "You wake me with dancing, you uh, loosen my sackcloth and clothe me in gladness." Right? I'm like, first off, all the time I'm reading, that's the first time that verse pops out at me, right? But it's part of a song. I've heard that. You know, you wake me with dancing. But oh gosh, the so I got end of this month. Well, there's only 31 chapters in Proverbs. So after June, starting in July, I'm in the New Testament. I'm in Matthew. Okay. Then doing the same thing, but in the New Testament. I looked at Psalms. If I keep doing the chapter a day for a month, it'll be 10 years before I'm done with Psalms, which is fine. Um, that's just amazing. Oh yeah, after I read that verse, usually like I'll meditate and I doze off, right? That's why I set an alarm to get me up, right? I couldn't sleep. I had like 2 minutes left to go. My meditation, I got up and started doing things. But I'm experiencing something that I haven't experienced. It's a level of leadership that I haven't seen since I was in the SEAL teams or boxing for Roy Jones Sr. But it's different. This is a benevolent leader. Okay, so this is Apostle Michael Petro, right? If he says it, his flock does it. It's phenomenal, right? And it's not. It's like in the SEAL teams, boy, that was like a Master Chief Keith, because you better, right? There's a guy. His name will come to me in a second. He was the bullfrog for a while. I'll think of his name. He was the executive officer when I was in the Persian Gulf on the barge Hercules. Pete Wakel. Just mentioning Tom Keith's name, he's like, that guy. If he ever lets you know he was mad enough to kill you, right? So that was the leadership of Tom Keith, right? But he was very knowledgeable. He had like knowledge about jungle warfare and tactics, like the book they called the Bible of jungle warfare. He wrote it. That's all the SEALs. I went through he put me through SEAL tactical training when I first got to the teams, and I did 3 jungle warfare courses with that guy. And so, but Michael Petro, um, it's a different. Not only is he knowledgeable, but he's revered. He is. These people love him, right? I mean, it's um, man, Roy Jones Sr. I love Roy Jones Sr., right? But I didn't do for him. I mean, he had the knowledge, right? And he put this. He had this very focused effort. Like he knew where all of our buttons were, every one of us, right? He knew, like he's get me so mad. Whenever we went on a trip, I only fought, like for the 4 years I was training with him, I only fought one time in Pensacola. That's where we were, right? Every time else, it was the closest place was Mobile or Saraland, Alabama, right? And most of the time, it was 2 or 3 hours away. We had to drive, and I had to drive, and he was the backseat driver from hell. And by the time we got to the fight, I was ready to whip somebody's butt, man, because he just had me wound up, right? Then years later, I'm like, he did that on purpose. And I talked to him, I was like, how did you know? Because I'd see how, the other guys be messing with you, and you get all quiet and focused, and you'd be like, let's get up in the ring. Let's see how funny you are up there. and you take care of business. So he would get me all riled up before the fight. So my point is, he knew how to get the most out of each of us individually. Okay, and it wasn't. I mean, I know. I mean, he loves me. I love him. He tells me all the time. I mean, at first I got insulted. He's like, "You're the least one in here." That pissed me off. But the rest of what he said later was, "But you give the rest of these guys everything they can handle." So what he was saying was, I took the little bit that I had and I got the most out of it, right? It took me years to hear that, because all I heard was, "You're the least one in here." I hated that, right? And so I always knew he had my best interest, right? And and I knew that he had us all. He knew all us inside and out, like nobody I've ever seen. I don't know if Michael Petro's that way, right? But I'll tell you what I know. They love him. His congregation, and this is really cool. So there's a definition I learned of love by Dennis Whaley. It's choosing only to see that which is good and giving value to others. And I learned teaching kids how to box that if I only focus on what they did wrong, that's all they think about. And they go, if I want to stand over them with a stick, they go back to what they were doing wrong, right? But if I focus on what they did right, they would do that all the time, and they would do more. They would try to do other stuff right. They would get better trying to get my attention. They would learn that how to get my attention was doing things correctly, right? And in an outstanding way. And that would get my attention, because I was always looking for correctness. Learned that from the military, doing a jump master personnel inspection, checking out your free fall rig, your stagline rig, whatever. You're looking for correctness, and so what's not correct pops right out. That's the same thing here, man. I can, somebody gets incongruent. I pick up on it. Like right now, I'm auditory kinesthetic. So if I hear somebody say something that's incongruent to something they said before, I pick up on it like right away. And but I'm looking for correctness. And when I And so when something's not correct, it just jumps right out at you. Um, so the what this correctness is the admiration that I see toward the apostle. Um, it's I have never seen that with anybody ever before, and what that tells me is he's putting them first. Okay, it's I know somebody. She was an Olympic 880. She was a U.S. representative in like 2012 for the 800, and right before the race, she pulled a hamstring, and but that woman, um, when she's talking to me, it's like I'm the only one in the world. Very endearing. She's flat gorgeous too, um, you know, and but she's like that with everybody. She's like kind of retiring now. She's like young, she's like 40, I guess. I don't even know if she's that old, but she's just focusing on just being a mom to her son. She's got enough in assets and everything, but he's her whole world. That poor boy, he's gonna have one heck of a time, because there's not going to be any other girl, that's going to be as endearing to him as his mother. It's going to be a hard. I mean, if he gets a girlfriend, she's going to be flat gorgeous and just love him to pieces, because the only way that a girl's going to be able to compete with his mom is to be that way, flat gorgeous and just totally like loving him, right? Because that's how his mom is with him. Isn't that funny? But she's the only other one that I know of that garners that kind of admiration. And I really don't see Apostle doting over people. But there's something he's doing that just touched their life, and that's why they're the way they are. All right, I'm gonna go do my workout, and then I got a busy day. All right, have a great Wednesday.